My name is Luke Allen, Vice President of Sales for OHD, and this is Booth Armstrong, our Eastern Regional Sales Manager. Today we are going to provide a demonstration of the OHD Quantifit fit testing system using controlled negative pressure technology. Our goal today is to give you an overview of the technology, a little bit of information on regulations, actually walk through testing with our system, cover some of the features and benefits that make our technology industry leading, and then finish up with some next steps for you after this video.
Going to tell you a little bit about the history of controlled negative pressure in the OHD Quantifit.
Yeah, so the late 80s, early 90s, there was research being done for new methods for fit testing, specifically quantitative testing. And that's where controlled negative pressure really came to the forefront. A lot of research that was done, AIHA peer-reviewed studies that were then given to OSHA and then also to NIOSH to look at, is this a viable method to add into the OSHA standard? What came out of that is the most accurate fit testing in the world and using air as a challenge agent, which had never been done previously. So late 90s was when the controlled negative pressure technology was actually accepted into the OSHA standard 98-99 for the technology.
Yeah, and then what's really neat, in 2003, the Redon testing process was accepted by OSHA,
right,
which it was accepted separate of controlled negative pressure, but married to controlled negative pressure. And the Redon just took the OHD fit testing to another level. It brought in the fastest quantitative fit test available on the market, and with the Redon protocol, we became the only technology that you could do a removal and a Redon during the testing process.
Right.
And that was another huge part of OHD's history.
Before we cover the fit test with the OHD Quantifit fit testing system, we wanted to talk a little bit about international standards and regulations. Keep in mind that wherever you're watching this video, you want to reference your local regulatory body on standards specific to fit testing of masks, but also including shaving and anything leading up to the fit test. It's important to know that the Quantifit is OSHA compliant here in the U.S. market. A lot of other countries will reference OSHA, so it is OSHA compliant, as well as the Redon protocol, which we're about to demonstrate during the fit test. Other bodies that are important to see or look at are the ISO regulation on mask fit testing and also maintenance and care of respirators, CSA in Canada, HSE in the UK, and also the INRS in France, among other bodies. So that's a little bit about regulations and some of the pieces there, and we'll transition now to features and benefits of our technology.
Yeah, very good. OHD sees three major advantages to testing with the Quantifit. The speed, the ease of testing, and the accuracy that the Quantifit brings to a quantitative respiratory mask fit test is unrivaled. So let's start off with speed. The Quantifit does a fit test in 3 minutes, average of 3 minutes. 5-step test. Each step takes about 8 seconds. You include the instructions in there. You're looking at about a 3-minute fit test. One other neat aspect of testing with the Quantifit that's connected to speed is if you fail any one of the 5 steps of testing with the Quantifit, you're allowed to retest that step. You never have to start the test back over again, which could save a tremendous amount of time at that aspect.
Yeah, another thing we'll demonstrate for speed of testing is the piece on the Redon protocol is why it's faster, but it's also good to keep in mind that we're the only testing system in the world where you actually Redon the mask. So we'll take the mask fully off, Redon it, and it's the only method in the entire world where you actually Redon the face piece during a fit test. So important piece there.
Fantastic. Second aspect of testing that with the Quantifit that's an advantage is the ease of testing. It really boils down to 2 things. First, the Quantifit is not environmentally dependent, meaning you don't have to have any certain testing environment. You don't have to have a clean room, dirty room, or a particulate count in the air. You can test with the Quantifit anywhere, no environmental dependency. The second aspect that makes the Quantifit extremely easy to test with is no consumables required to test with the Quantifit. No alcohol wicks, no consumable of any type required. That's a neat aspect when it comes to recurring cost to the Quantifit as well. No consumable recurring cost. The only recurring cost to a Quantifit will be your annual calibration, which is what you would experience with any instrument recognized by OSHA to do a quantitative test. Anything on ease?
Yeah, so the other thing to keep in mind is the portability that brings. So environmental dependency kind of limits you to where you can test. And we have clients all over the world that will test in very, very remote areas, in the back of trucks, other places. So the Quantifit is unrivaled in that standpoint. The other thing with consumables to keep in mind is the startup of the instrument. So during the morning when you're starting up for testing, you literally turn the instrument on, a 90-second calibration, you're ready to go. You don't have to worry about having all these different pieces to test, and if you don't have those, how do you test? You've got to wait or wait time to get those. So that's a big piece to add on for ease of use.
Absolutely. Finally, accuracy. The Quantifit uses the technology, the controlled negative pressure technology, and we're pulling that pressure within the respirator, and we're determining how much leakage occurs into that respirator. There's been many white paper studies that have been done. They've been published in the American Association of Industrial Hygiene magazine and journal, and those studies really have led to the belief of OHD that we provide the most accurate, most health protective test on the market because we're using air to challenge the mask versus the particulate. So, anything?
Yeah. So that's the key, is that air is a better challenge agent than a particle or other methods. I mean, that's what we'll demonstrate here in a second. When we do a fit test, we'll also show you a portion of an actual leak that we'll put into the mask. We do this a lot of times during demonstrations, and it will give you a good view of how well the Quantifit can see leak in real fit testing.
Absolutely.
So we'll now transition into a demonstration of the Quantifit and the read-on protocol. So Booth will go over, he'll don the mask, but before we jump into the full test, I want to talk a little bit about our technology. When Booth puts the respirator on, we're actually going to pull a negative pressure against the mask and check for leakage into the mask, whether it's integrity problems with the face piece itself, or through leakage, facial hair, the wrong size, all of those things we're looking for in fit testing. So when you have a demonstration on site, you'll see the challenge pressure or breathing rate as we pull the air out of the mask and pull at that line. So we're going to assume that Booth's worn the mask for 5 minutes, just like you do with any other fit test method, and then we'll jump into it through step 1. The read-on protocol has 5 steps. The first step is a face forward. Booth will then wait for the measurement, and then he'll start the test when it's time. He'll then bend at the waist for a bend at the waist step, shake the head step in the middle vigorously, talking out loud, opening and closing the mouth, and the last 2 steps are where the read-on gets its name, an actual re-donning of the respirator to make sure that that person's been trained properly and knows how to wear the mask. So as you can see, Booth is engaging the first step. So through the first step, we're going to pull the air out of the mask, and we're measuring how much air leaks into the face piece right now through this step. So the Quantifit's already finished step 1. The screen shows us a pass, so Booth's going to bend at the waist. We've already started our time there to look at this. Now it's important also to remember that the Quantifit is pulling a work rate or a breathing rate against the mask. So instead of relying on employees to challenge the respirator with breathing, the machine pulls the same deep inhalation for every employee, every step, every time. So for consistent fit testing throughout your facility or fire department or whatever the scenario is, the Quantifit's going to pull that high work rate on the mask to challenge it very vigorously for every person. So no variability of people or test subjects challenging the mask. So as you can see, Booth's been into the waist. He's now engaging step 2. And so we're through the step 2 step. We'll see how that turns out on our test here. So again, the Quantifit will kick off. We have a pass. So now Booth's going to move to step 3. He's going to vigorously shake the head, open and close his mouth. He's talking a bit. And then we're going to have Booth stop and face forward and start the test. What we're looking for here is how well did the mask reseat on his face. So that's really the key here. Through shaking and moving and talking, how well does that mask reseat on his face? And you can see it reset very well. So now Booth's going to re-don the mask. He's going to loosen all of his straps. He's going to get it off his face, and now he's going to re-don the respirator. Keep in mind what we touched on earlier, no other system in the world can you take the mask off and re-don it. It's the only system in the world that we do that. So now we get a really good look at how well does this mask fit Booth structurally, how well does he train to put it on. That's a key component of fit testing, and what we see here is another good score. So at me as the operator, I'd watch Booth do it again. He's going to loosen all the straps. He's going to re-don it. He's going to make sure that he knows how to put this face piece on securely at every point of the test. So this is step 5. As you can see, quickly moving through an OSHA compliant fit test or compliant with the ISO regulation, whatever body is local to you. So last step, we're going to look at this, wait for the Quantifit to assess, and then we get a full fit test as a pass here. So very important. So that's a full read-on fit test, start to finish, through every single test all the way through. So that was a full fit test with the Quantifit using the read-on protocol. Now what we want to do is show you leak with the Quantifit system through a couple of leak sources. So Booth, we'll ask you to get back into the mask again. What we want to do first is show you a major leak with the Quantifit system and the accuracy really that our technology provides. So Booth, when you have that on, I want you to slide your finger in through the seal. So it's all the way through the face piece. So we have a major leak is what we would refer it to. So Booth, run a test for us. What you'll see on the graph is we can't pull a challenge agent, or challenge pressure. We're pulling, no leakage, which will result in a fail because it's too much air leaking in for a passing score. So what we'll do now is we'll retest this step, and we will do a fit test with a slight leak. So what we have here is kind of a paper clip unwound, and what I'm going to ask Booth to do here is to slide that in through whatever, a temple or a cheek or wherever he can create a leak source. So obviously a finger is a much larger leak source than this paper clip extended out. So what we're now challenging the Quantifit to do is to find this leak source and to report it in as a pass or a fail. So Booth, go ahead and engage the test. What you'll see here is a different graph. It's a slight leak, so it's not a major leak, but it's slightly pulling air, and now the Quantifit's going to report on that. As you can see, we have a failing test, which is great because the Quantifit was able to see this small leak and still fail the test. So Booth, what I want you to do now is pull that out of the mask. Don't read on it. Leave the mask exactly where it is. Let me restart the test. And then what we'll do now is with the leak source removed, we'll see if the Quantifit now sees the mask resealing on the face. So Booth's now engaged the test. We're now pulling that pressure against the mask. And what you're seeing now is a good graph again, but at the end we'll see a pass result, as you can see on the graph. So major importance to see here that 3 different types of tests, same donning, major leak, slight leak, no leak. The Quantifit was able to see all 3 of those.
That was an opportunity to see the OHD technology in action. Hopefully you were able to see the features and benefits that we were referencing earlier, the speed, the ease of testing, the accuracy of testing in action there. Next steps, what will good next steps be?
Yeah, great next steps would be to get an on-site demonstration. Use the contact information that's on your screen to get in touch with us direct, so we can set you up with a regional sales manager, or even internationally we can set up with distribution throughout the whole world. So that'd be the best next step, to get an on-site view of the Quantifit and also get your questions answered. So if there's some questions out of this demo video that you still have questions on things, get in touch with us. We'll be happy to answer those. That's really our goal, is to educate and to make sure people feel comfortable with our technology.
Absolutely. Thank you for considering the OHD Quantifit, and we look forward to providing any additional support needed.